Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's going on? I hope you guys are doing well. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. Welcome to drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. And let me just say this: as you come in and you put your B1 in the chat, let us know that you're Black first, and that's a requirement for admission. There is a brother by the name of Dean Okai Sr. Dean Okai, his name is on the screen, and Dean is out of London. And I'm gonna tell y'all, you all know that I've mentioned to y'all many times that Black London is literally my favorite place on the planet because they have extraordinary Black people there. Well, right at the top of that list, in terms of memorable people who've accomplished a lot that I just respect tremendously, is Dean Okai. Dean Okai is the founder of an organization called ADPAC, which stands for the African Diaspora Public Affairs Committee. And so I want to actually just say hello to my friend. How you doing today, brother?
Good evening, brother. I'm blessed.
All right. Well, we're glad to have you, man. And so everybody greet Dean as you come in. Say hello, Dean, D-E-A-N, because he's going to be the Dean and the Minister of Information right now, because he's going to talk about some moves that he's making in London that not just him, but collectively that they're making in London that y'all need to learn about. He actually told me some stuff about some things that he was inspired by when Ice Cube and I were doing our stuff back when Biden and Trump were running for office. And one difference that I want to just point out right now to everybody, y'all need to understand, do not sleep on Black London, because the Black folks I met in London, they're doers. They're not just going to talk about it. They got leaders that are actually going to do it. Whereas here sometimes we get people that do a lot of this, but not a lot of actual action. So without further ado, let's start with ADPAC. So Dean Okai, tell us about ADPAC and what does it do and why did you create it?
So ADPAC is part of a 5-year journey. Initially, it was the states that motivated me to action, 2016, with the state-sponsored assassination of African Americans when they were killing civilians. And this is police, and they know they had the nod. Obama was weak. Trump came in, and Trump put another battery on their back. Now, Trump is a conservative, and he also offered benefits to us, but we weren't ready, and we weren't listening with the correct mindset and ears. So this is all about paradigms. But what we were doing in London was listening. What we did was set up a think tank called the Solution Room, which is when we met you when you came over to London, based off of the audience that we had here and the market that we were able to galvanize to bring people down to the event. However, marketing is one thing, but power is demonstrated through what you have organized. Power isn't numeric. African Americans are 40 million plus. In the UK, we are just under 3 million. And the Yiddish community, the Jewish UK community, is 246,000. However, their organizational skills were way more than ours. So I made a decision as a man. And when you do that, I think what happens is that you start to attract more of those of a similar ilk. And it's a spiritual quickening that just brings your peers towards you. And that is exactly what happened. The peers started coming towards me. I think my connections on LinkedIn are about 8,500. I resisted European connections, Asians and everybody else, and just dealt with us for the course of 5 years, took people to dinner, got a peer education. And that introduced me to our brightest and best.
Wow. So you actually organize and put some things together, and your organizing in London has been really effective. And you also did some work with something called the We Matter Party. Now, were you one of the founders of the We Matter Party?
I'm not one of the founders, and I'll tell you what ADPAC does. Just like if you think about AIPAC, the Israeli lobby, they add value to whatever Jews and Israel's policy is in the United States. So what our role within ADPAC is to do is to identify those who are doing the real work on the ground. So the minute that I identified these guys, our role is to add policy. So I became the political director, the policy director of the We Matter Party.
Wow. Well, I'll tell you, it's one of those things where, and I want everybody to just know this. I really, really hope you will look up Dean Okai, because, I feel like sometimes, every now and then, I have these great moments where I feel like I'm in a conversation where I'm a part of history. And I've known you for a while, and I've seen your work, and we don't even get to talk much. Like, I think this might be the first conversation we've had in a couple of years, but I watch people make moves, and Dean is a brother that's been making moves. And so let me ask you, you all were able to have an influence on a recent election. Is that correct? Can you tell us about it?
Absolutely. So there are a number of roles that aren't recognized in elections. So you guys have sheriffs, and these are elected roles. So we have a police and crime commissioner. Our chair ran for police and crime commissioner and got 7,500 votes in a 2-week polling period. Well, now, next year, all seats are open, and we have 7 months of clarity to run for those elections.
Wow. Okay, so so you're influencing the politics. What about the economic base in London? I know a group of our students got together when I went to London with Alicia maybe about a year and a half ago. And I had a little event out there, and it was so much fun. And we planned the event literally with 3 days to go. And I just said, let me send out an email and see who's here and who wants to come out. And it was packed out. I mean, everybody came, and it was so much fun. And I remember out of that, we had more conversations, and we created a group called, the acronym was BLAAC, the Black London Asset Acquisition Council. And so they just ran with it. I was really impressed with the fact that it wasn't just talking. It was, let's go do it. Okay, here's what we're going to do. A student set up a WhatsApp, and next thing you know, they're going back and forth and making moves. What about the economic base there? I know that you are well-versed in economics, and you have a lot to say on that topic. How's that been going in terms of understanding the importance of buying black, or it's economically supporting the ideas that you believe in? What's that process been like for you?
Vastly more developed than when you were in town, brother. So one of my brothers, Swiss, who has an event called Black Pound Day every month, earns hundreds of thousands of pounds for black-owned businesses in the United Kingdom. I say African Caribbean because black is politically black, and anybody can self-identify, just like Rachel Dolezal, to be black. Right. So I always say African Caribbean in the UK. But yeah, my brother Swiss has an event called Black Pound Day, and hundreds of thousands of pounds are earned by black businesses every month, month in, month out. We have a kite mark that says this product is authentically created by African Caribbean owned or black, however you do it, player, we don't mind. And that kite mark on products enables our consumers to know this is genuinely owned by us, because we do a vigorous due diligence on the ownership of the products. So what we in essence wanted to do was create an ecosystem of African Caribbean owned products and businesses, so that when it comes down to asking them to put money back into the community via donations, which are offsettable by tax, into charitable ongoing concerns like ADPAC, we are a national representation of our population. And then what we do is we have a couple of 100+ delivery partners across London, Birmingham, Manchester, and the entire nation to drop that money on as ongoing concerns, because they deliver the programs to our youths and all of those civic infrastructures that we require.
Wow. Okay, so you are corralling the economics, and by the way, everybody, I'm talking to Dean Okai. Dean is the founder of ADPAC, which is the African Diaspora Public Affairs Committee, and he also is just a brilliant black man that's across the sea. But you have a lot of allies over in the UK, and I want you all to make sure you know that. And I was super impressed when I was over there. The support was phenomenal. In fact, what was really funny was when we did an event in London, we had more people show up at the event in London alone than there were for the entire All Black National Convention. Like the entire, and I said, what's going on? And it was interesting too, because after the events are done, and this is why I think that your community is in a great position to really mobilize and implement, is because I remember afterward I always sign books, and one of the things I notice here in the States is if I sign a lot of books, I'll see a lot of kids with their mothers and the father is maybe not there, right? And then sometimes I'll see a full family, and sometimes I'll see a father with their son, but I don't always see a lot of full families. Whereas I remember in London, I noticed it seemed to me that almost every family was a full family. When there was a child, there was a mother and a father, and I'm wondering if that has anything to do with the approach. Like the men in London, I felt, at least the ones I met, were just kind of built in a certain way that was sort of where the natural role of the man hasn't really been sort of undermined as dramatically. I mean, don't get me wrong. We know that the UK has its own problems that are pretty but it seems to me that there's something there. Maybe it's that Caribbean underpinning as well that drives family a little bit more. And I'm wondering if you've noticed any of that, just maybe as a person who's looking at America from a distance as well, in terms of how that broken family structure may undermine your ability to actually implement structured policies within your community. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Absolutely. So I'm going to be honest, because I wouldn't take your lead and make any impersonations. London and the UK is no different from the United States. The thing of it is, birds of a feather attract each other. Birds of a feather attract each other. And if you put out the call, if you move in circles where men are men, then men are going to come. And those men are representative of their families. So what you see is merely a mirroring of what was called upon. But if we're looking at the general demographic, it's exactly the same as the United States.
Really?
It's no different. Absolutely. 110%.
I didn't mean to. I just want to ask you this question. So would you say, so I know in the US, 76% of our kids don't have the mother and the father in the house. Is that similar in the UK?
I'm not even going to answer your question. I'm going to preface it with this. We are the subjects of a 500-year Black project, which is a European project. We're just the subjects. And if you think about us being the subjects of a 500-year Black project, then somebody else is running that project, right? If we're just the subjects.
Right.
Now, we have the ability to step outside of that project as African Americans, as African Caribbeans, and I step on this very sensitively, as a new nation who are coming into the clarity of themselves as ADOS or the foundational Americans. So I understand all of the nuances that are going on. You've got to understand that we have been the subjects of a 500-year European Black experiment. But we're not Black because it's a made-up term. It's a social construct. We're Africans. And to separate us from the land, which has value, to separate us from our spirituality, which has value, which connects us to our ancestors who run through our blood, all of these things enable Europeans to isolate us and make us victims, right?
Yep.
Why do we have a victim mentality? It's because we capitulate to their design based on our indoctrination, because we allow Europeans to educate our children. Now, that's merely an indoctrination. That's not an education, because we are indoctrinated to serve Europeans and their agenda. So we become part, like in the Matrix, human batteries for the European machine. We just stepped outside of that in ADPAC. Yeah.
Wow. Well, I love that, man. I mean, I think that you were preaching, and I was really getting into what you just said. Because when you think about it, right, in an abusive relationship, one of the things that they say abusers do is they isolate you from your power base. They want, if a man wants to abuse a woman, he gets her away from her family. He gets her away from anything that allows her to be independent of him, right? Away from any resources she might be able to obtain. He doesn't want her to have her own money. He doesn't want her to even have education, right? And definitely don't want her to have confidence, doesn't want her to have connections with anybody that can support her so that he can become the dominant force in her life. And you see that's that European abuser playbook. That's the Eurocentric playbook to make Black people feel like, look, all you got is us. You know, whether you're talking about even during the pandemic, it was, we're the only ones who can save you. You know, there's no other way for you to be healthy other than taking our shot or whatever, right? Or the only, or when you're talking about just the educational system, which I want to ask you about that, that I really think we have to take time to really understand the amount of damage that's done when our oppressor is responsible for developing our children's minds. And in fact, you have a son, Dean Okai Jr., that I think is going to be an extraordinary man like his father, because he has a great model, great blueprint from you. How much of a role do you take in the education of your son?
So my son is 14. We took him out of school at 7 years old, and we decided to homeschool him. So at this stage, we just develop his talents and his desires as he is, and enable him to make money from his talents. So already he has his own banking, his own eBay, his own interest. He's an animator. He plays the keyboard. He plays the guitar. I showed him Robert Rodriguez and showed him that you can control production from A to Z. So this became a model. But what I understood is not everybody is in a position to homeschool their children. And with ADPAC as an institution, it led us to developing the schools to industry pipeline, not the schools to prison pipeline. Because we also have, in the last 2 years, 6 privately built prisons, but also custodial holding centers for children from age 12. And can you imagine African Caribbean parents who can be manipulated because they're very malleable into signing over their children without realizing it's a custody into custody centers? So we have something called PRUs, which is where children aren't so focused, like Dr. Umar says. They put them in PRUs, which is really to face the wall, to put them in a position to go into the schools to prison pipeline. The schools to industry pipeline is what we call the public health approach, which is an intraconnected relationship between mentors, rites of passage organizations, youth psychologists, child parent intervention, which is very different from social services who come in with a European approach and isolate the child. Now, we're very blessed to have just realized funding for this, to do this in 8 boroughs in the UK. And not only that we can do this in 8 boroughs in the UK, but this is a transferable model because we have the proof of concept. So if there are people in the United States, in South America, in Africa, who desire this model, we can transfer it in the same way that ADPAC, in terms of me becoming the policy director for a political party that established whilst you were having the conversations with Ice Cube, but more importantly, based on the conversations you were having with Ice Cube. Remembering that Donald Trump was exactly who Boris Johnson is. And we said, we're not going to wait for that to catch us. We are going to establish and maneuver in a way that makes African Caribbeans in the UK a protected group. And they have a model in the UK called BAME, which is Black, Asian, and other ethnic minorities. We said that we have to pull ourselves out of that conflation of ethnicity and not identify by race as Black, identify as our ethnicity, and tap into the bigger reparations movement, which I'm sure we're going to discuss, but also tap into our own little vein, which is niche, and get all of the money, including the government contracts. Our government spends 49 billion per annum, but public spending is 249 billion. They're now going to ring fence 10% of 298 billion UK pound sterling. Remember, the pound is stronger than the dollar, for Black and Asian delivery partners. We are building to become criteria ready to be African Caribbean delivery partners who chop that 10%. Not Black, because that's politically Black. Rachel Dolezal, anyone can self-elect. We're not playing that conflation game anymore. We want our money. And we don't call it outsourcing. We insource all of the national delivery partners that we already have who are African Caribbean.
Wow. Everybody who just came in, I'm speaking with Dean Okai. Dean is out of the UK. He is the founder of the African Diaspora Public Affairs Committee, and also just a great Black man. And do me a favor, everybody, if you haven't done it yet, please hit the thumbs up button, share, subscribe button, share this video so that others from the diaspora can get this information. This is extremely important. Also, greet this brother. Put your B1 in the chat. Let us know that you're here. Shout out your city, your business, whatever it is that you want to do. Just be active and engaged and talk to each other. That's very, very important. So let's talk about reparations then. You made a good point, and I think reparations is a good topic to kind of drill into. As we close up. Okay, so you said a good thing you said something I really liked. You said we want our money or something to that effect. Give us our money, and I maybe people watching will know this. I'm not even going to repeat it, but this is something that I think needs to be the focal point. Let's stop talking about everything else. Talk about the money first, then we could get to the other stuff. So tell me about the reparations movement in terms of how it's happening in the UK, in other places you're connected, as well as which direction you think it's going to go and why that movement is so important for you.
So the first thing we did was a mapping exercise globally of the reparations movements. So in the UK, we have a movement called Stop the Mangamizi movement. Now, our reparations march is on Sunday, where I happen to be a keynote speaker with several colleagues. Now, what we have done is not only in Bristol through a sister of mine named, and I have everybody's name in front of me, Esther Costa Soze, in a city called Bristol, which was one of the key docks where they used to bring enslaved Africans to. They are on track to already receive reparations. Our role in terms of ADPAC is to bring all African Caribbeans in the UK on stream, in line with this movement, so that we are successful with a case study. You see, once you have a case study, this can be duplicated anyway. So when you see that they wanted 7 billion in Jamaica the other day, I have colleagues in Jamaica who we've spoken about their reparations movement, but the government and the grassroots reparations movements are two different things. So governments are there to chop money, just like the Black Caucus. You guys got to get rid of the Black Caucus, incidentally. Our brother at TD Hip Hop Media, and let me shout out our brother at TD Hip Hop Media, who is a fantastic investigator.
Yes, he is.
What is going on? And I will speak with him very soon. And it would be great if the three of us could triangulate conversations in a month.
When you talk to him, tell him I did reach out to him. Their brother TD Hip Hop Media. I don't know his name, but I reached out. I had somebody on my team email, and we didn't hear back. But yeah, if you can connect us, I'd love to have him. What's that again?
Like all of us with limited resources, I'm 110% that he's overrun. But what we will do is I think the three of us would have a very powerful conversation. Now, remember, his family is from Haiti, and he supports 100% ADOS, because all of our reparatory movements are respective. And we must respect that African Americans had experience, Caribbeans had an experience, and everybody else had an experience. They are respective repertory movements. Now, if we all just back each other up, and I'll be honest with you, personally, like when they talk about the UK and actors, I don't take any of it personally. And in terms of our Twitter campaigns, I fully support ADOS, whether they call themselves Foundational Americans, it doesn't matter. We're talking about the same people. Yeah. And I have to respect how my family in the US express themselves, because it's only about the outcome. We just want to extrapolate the capital. But what we have to understand is that we have to create the repertory banks, which are based in sovereign territories, and we have the family, and I will tell you this, through ADPAC. Offshore, on the continent, we have the family that have sovereign territories outside of any jurisdiction for repertory banks. In order to receive reparations successfully, it is required that you have a repertory bank and a repertory mandate to take this capital from Europeans. And it's only a bank robbery of wealth transference from them to us. So once we're connected, anything is possible.
Wow. Well, I love it. I'll tell you, I love it. And I want to say thank you to Dorothy McQueen for your donation. I want to acknowledge you for supporting the platform. Thank you. And also, I happen to see a person that a great, smart Black woman that you and I both know. You know her a lot better than I do, and for good reasons, named Iola Williams. And I just want to acknowledge her. Because I think we both agree that with every great Black man, there's always a great Black woman somewhere. And she is one of those great Black women that supports the movement, has been very consistent. And I just want to acknowledge that. Yeah. Well, you know what, brother, I love what you're doing. And I look forward to more conversations. And I love that brother with TD Hip Hop Media. Yeah, let him know. I check him out. I'm a fan. He is good, and there's a lot out here. Another guy by the name of Black Dot is very good in terms of breaking things down, and there's just so many smart Black people out here. And my belief, my argument would be that whatever little platform I have, my job is to share it with smart brothers and sisters like yourself. To allow you to kind of spread your message. So you are welcome to come back anytime. And you don't even need me to be here. If you had a message and you did a video or something, you just send it to my people. Yeah, I will post it, or I will let them, use it, because I think that this is something where we need all hands on deck, and I'm not really. And when you talked about, the division, right, when you had ADOS kind of taking a stand and things like that, and I'm not going to address the division part, but I will say that I think it's very important for us to be strategic in who we choose as our enemies and allies. There's some allies where that ally could easily be an enemy if I decided to focus on our differences, but there's some battles I will not fight. Some situations where I say, you know what? It's not going to help anybody if I fight with this person who's sitting right next to me or who looks like me or similar to me. I'd rather go take the fight across the sea, or so to speak, across the fence to people that really, where we have that common enemy, where we can find a reason to unite. So I'm all with you. And I'll tell you what, I want everybody in here to know that's watching from America, you got to go do your research on what's happening in the UK. They are forward thinking. They are extremely, the leadership there is very intelligent, very capable, and they know more about you than we know about them. Because Americans, we're kind of self-centered. We see what's happening here. We think it's the center of the world. And I find that, we don't always know what's going on in other places. And a lot of times there are so many great innovative ideas already being applied that we can just simply emulate. And I encourage everybody to do the research on that and support that. And let me ask you this, brother, is there a website or any place people can go to support what you're doing, make a donation, sign up for a membership, follow a channel? Where should they go?
All of the above, brother. So ADPAC, ADPAC.net is the website. Okay. ADPAC/donation is where donations can be made. But we also have a show called The Code Show, which is on LinkedIn Live. Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube concurrently. Now, the code show is what we'd use to establish African code globally. And we have lives with Americans, with people from the UK, with people from Europe. And remember, LinkedIn is a very powerful platform. But we're on LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook concurrently. Also, you can check us out on Instagram, on ADPAC UK, on Twitter, ADPAC6, and Facebook, ADPAC UK. So the key to this whole thing is erasing false borders. We were all kidnapped from the same place. We went through kidnap, rape, torture, buck breaking, and we know why we're not in alliance with Lil Nas X. We know that he is used as a vehicle to emasculate our men. But what we're doing in the UK right now is building a layered tier of leadership, which is youth leadership. And we take for granted that we have homosexual brothers and sisters, and we support them within their organizations. But their role is not to emasculate our nation who protect our families. If you were gay in the UK, then we're 100% behind you in protection of you. But your role is not to emasculate a generation. Because they are the soldiers. And we all have the uncle who holds his wrist at a different angle from the rest of us. I have one. And I don't know if anybody's ever been at a funeral of one of their cousins who died early. And the church sisters are singing over here. And your uncle is singing a totally different song because it takes him. And he happens to hold his wrist at a different angle. I don't have any problem with that. Alec, our brother, Mr. Baldwin, was an exceptional advocate for us, and his sexuality never came into it. So we will always be seen as African first, and whatever diaspora we are in, we will be oppressed. Nobody cares about our sexuality. Nobody cares about, as Dr. Claude Anderson says, my esteemed teacher, your esteemed teacher, our horizontal issues. Our issues are vertical. They are socio-economic, which will improve our economic mobility.
Yes.
Let us grow. Like I just mentioned, we got 298 billion of government contracts here, which they are ring-fencing 10% for us and Asians. Well, now us and Asians are competing over 10% of 298 billion. God bless. What a great number to be competing over.
There you go. Well, I love it. I love it. Well, everybody who's watching, this is Dean Okai Sr. I'm going to put his name on the screen. You need to remember this name. This name will only get bigger over time because he is one of the smartest people I've ever met. And I have a lot of respect for his leadership capacity. And also, if you want to support and follow what they have going on across the sea, I encourage you to do that. Because we've got to support the diaspora. Remember, this is your power base. Don't let your power base go. You can actually follow ADPAC UK on Instagram. I saw my friend Andre C. Hatchett already follows, and I just hit the follow button a second ago as I was looking at the Instagram page. And last but not least, let me know, Dean, is that the URL to go to if they want to support financially?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So remember, the reason I lay this stuff out here for you guys is because you have to understand that when you believe in an institution, you got to support it. That's economic maturity. White folks, when they believe in a think tank, they make donations. Jewish community, they support their synagogues and their schools and everything else, and they support ADPAC. Well, you have to figure out what you're going to support. Right? Are you going to keep putting money in the pockets of Gucci and everybody else? Or are you going to start putting resources into the hands of the people that actually have your best interests at heart? So if you believe that this brother in this organization has your best interest at heart, then I encourage you to provide some type of support, whatever you can do. And if you can't pay money, at least pay attention. And you can share, you can like, you can subscribe, you can give them your energy, the same energy we might give the pretty girl on Instagram who's showing body parts. You got to give the same energy to the smart black men and smart black women who are showing their brain and showing you what they're doing and showing you a vision that's every bit as beautiful as anything you've ever seen. So God bless you, brother. It was wonderful getting a chance to talk to you again, man.
Absolutely. There's just two more things I want to throw out there.
Oh, please.
So we also have a partnership with a TV platform called HMP TV, which is a subscription-based TV platform. This is how we propagate our people. And we've got a distance learning platform called Knowledge Finder. So knowledgefinder.com is our training platform where specifically only for our people, we create courses, which is to train us. Now, it could be institutional in terms of training the trainer, or it could be for civilians in terms of just imparting knowledge. But we have our own training platform, Knowledge Finder. We have our own TV platform, which is a subscription platform, HMP TV.
Okay. All right. I'm going to put Knowledge Finder on the screen. So everybody go take a look at knowledgefinder.com. That's the URL, and also HMP TV. So that's all. I'll put that on the screen for everybody to see it so you know how to spell it. So it looks like they have a lot going on here. So I look forward to talking to you again in the future, Dean. It's great to see you again. Absolutely, brother. Great to catch up. Yes, absolutely. And everybody who's watching, thank you all for hanging out with us. If you could hit the thumbs up, share, subscribe button before you go. Please share the video. And definitely, let's see, the links on Instagram. Yeah, there's a lot of information on Instagram. So also follow ADPAC UK on Instagram. And those who are looking to organize here, they figured out a lot of solutions over there. So let's pay attention. So we'll license the model because we're looking for delivery partners in different territories. So we from the Constitution, but the most important part is the organizational base, because this is a fully self-sustaining democratic organization. And what we have managed to do is infiltrate the mainstream. So we have a police station called New Scotland Yard, which is what your base would be for the main police operations. We have advocates inside there. All right. We have advocates inside other political parties. We have advocates inside the civil service, which is what you would have in Washington, who really create the legislation. Our Secret Service is inside every organization you can imagine. Wow. Well, I'll tell you that you triggered me, because I thought about the last time I was in London when they detained me at the airport and had me in the cell for 10 hours. Much quicker phone call. One day I'll tell you all that story, because it was fascinating. But I'm still coming back. I don't care what they say. So it's great talking to you, Dean. And I'm gonna put his name on the screen, everybody, so you should go Google him and tell your kids about him. These are our great black leaders. These are the people that you should honor and admire. These are our superheroes. So everybody go look up Dean Okai when you get a chance. And I want to say thank you all for hanging out with us. And thanks again, Dean, brother. It was great to see you again, man. All right. Well, everybody have a great day, and I'll see you again real soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Great day, sir.